So again, this is the secrets to my success. If you're just joining us today, I often tell people I feel super thankful, super blessed, right, to be able to find on Amazon. Every time I see my neighbor, she still lives here in Hershey. Every time I see her, I thank her for being willing to share with me the message of selling on Amazon. And number 6 comes with that one of the successes that I had early on was that I started to attend Amazon seller events. So I saw the power, I saw the potential, and I was hungry. And I said, man, I want to get with other people who believe this same thing I do, that e-commerce is only going to continue to grow. And so probably the first 5 years of selling on Amazon, I attended 8 to 10 meetups and conferences every year. So one of the first ones that I went to 2013 and 14 was Greg Purdy. Greg Purdy's a member here of the tribe. I just saw him in Kansas City. So Greg hosted a meetup. It was actually in his shop. There was probably close to 70, 80 people there, and right away sat next to folks who begin sharing best practices with each other. And one of the powerful things about the tribe here is many of you now have found folks that you've connected with, right? And you are doing that same thing. And you know that as you share best practice, your best practices with other folks, then generally they're going to share their best practices back, and you're going to get a lot of synergy. You're going to find new ways, right, to source inventory, new ways to find and acquire that inventory. And so I encourage you. This is why I love what Gary does with his coaching sessions. Every coaching session, that's what it is. You basically, when you're coming together, right, at that meetup, just like what Griffey and Carol just did at their house was tremendous. What they did on a Friday night, taking us to their house, showing us their shop. That was the best tour that I've seen. I actually wasn't able to be there, but I talked to a number of people that were. I showed up on Saturday morning and they said it was phenomenal. They basically ran you through their shop like you were a piece of inventory. So just a great way to learn. But they had to spend, this is what I love about Griffey and Carol. This is what I love about the Amazon seller space. They had to spend a tremendous amount of time thinking that through. A tremendous amount of time training their employees with how are they going to teach us, right, as we came through their shop. And then you all know when you host 100, 150 people, it's a lot of energy, a lot of effort. But they did it. Tremendous amount of learning that went on there. And for me, that was a huge part. So if this is your full-time gig and you want to scale, you want to grow, you want to be on the lookout, right, for attending other Amazon seller events. Number 7. This is one of the things I would do early on. And if you're not doing this, you need to. When you find a hot item, right, in your area, you absolutely need to clear the shelf. For me, it was a 3-hour radius. And so this is when I realized this is the power of Amazon FBA. So folks, don't miss this. This is how you can scale, right? eBay, you got to ship every single thing yourself to the customer, extremely time intensive. With Amazon, you can send in 100 units, right? And if the BSR is good, they're going to sell quickly. I realized that, hey, look, if I want to scale up and I find a profitable item, I'm going to go to every store in a 3-hour radius and I'm going to empty them. And that's what I did. If you're not doing this, put it into practice, right? Once you find that profitable item, and again, this is a time thing. So if you don't have the time, then you want to figure out what the profit is on that item and pay somebody, give them your credit card and pay them to drive around and acquire that inventory. This is huge. This one of the ways I was able to scale is I found a number of products like this. I often tell people one of the early products I found was the Mater bubble blower mower. So, you know, the cartoon cars. Well, early on, I found that was extremely profitable product. And I went to every single Boscov's that is in my region and I cleared them out, sent them in, and they sold within 2 or 3 weeks. And this was hundreds of units at a very profitable clip. So clear the shelf of the hot items that are in your area. All right, number 8. Here's a key one. And this is Gary and Gay talk about this all the time. You have to have a schedule and you have to feed the Amazon beast on a regular basis. The only way, right, you and I win in an inventory-based business is if we consistently have inventory that is selling. So this is another one where I see a lot of Amazon sellers, they don't necessarily do the best job at. They may go hard for a month and then they take a few weeks off. If you do that, you are not going to be able to scale if that is your goal. You have to be consistent in acquiring the inventory and shipping it into Amazon. Of course, gaze out the door in 24 is paramount, right? You don't want to bring inventory in and then let it sit right in your garage or let it sit in your basement. You have to get that out in 24 hours. However, you cannot take time off unless you get to the point where you're a business owner and you're paying those shoppers and you have that team, right? You cannot take time off. You have to be sending the beast inventory because that's the only way it's going to spit out profit. And I often qualify that with it has to be profitable inventory. So don't just send inventory in to send inventory in. You got to make sure that you're using your brain and sending profitable inventory in because that's the way that you're going to be able to scale. And then number 9 is I stayed working. So this is one for those of you that still have a full-time job. And you've probably heard Gary say this, probably heard Gay say this. I stayed working at my full-time job that I'd been at for 15 years until I realized that it was costing me money to remain employed. And so my Amazon business was able to scale up relatively quickly. I saw the profits that were coming out of that. And I realized that if I stayed at my full-time job, I was really missing the opportunity to make more money. And so wherever you're at in that situation, just recognize it. But if you want to, again, your dream is to become a business owner, then you are going to have to jump from your full-time job. But before you jump, right, I encourage you, stay there as long as you possibly can, because that's going to help you, again, snowball all of your profits back into your business. But once you realize that you have the mind and the systems in place to acquire more profitable inventory, right, and it's costing you money to stay, then that's when I say, all right, go ahead and make the jump, go full time, and then dive in. And that's what I was able to do. Again, super thankful for it.